This is an interview with Mr. Walter Wilson III from the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We're at Miles College, June 7th, 1995. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for coming out and being with us today.
Thank you for having me with you.
Okay, I just want to start by asking you some general kinds of questions about your family. What part of the state were your parents from?
My mother was born in Dayton, Alabama. My father, I don't know where he was born. I think he was born in Birmingham, but my people lived here. I lived here all my life.
You were born here in Birmingham?
I was born in Birmingham.
Okay. Did you have brothers and sisters? How many brothers and sisters?
I have two brothers younger and a sister younger.
Oh, okay. So you were the elder statesman, huh?
I am.
Good. Tell me about your parents' education.
Well, far as I know, my parents, my father may have finished high school. My mother, she went to night school to finish, I know.
Yeah, she finished high school.
And my grandparents didn't finish school.
Okay. What about your parents' occupations?
Well, I can remember my mother having only one job, other than the one she worked for the church. She worked for Robert James printing company back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I remember her talking about it. And I think she got fired because of the fact that I was with Shelworth and we were trying to get something done about the integration of the schools in Birmingham.
Okay. I'm going to come back to that and ask you about that. Let me just ask you, what community did you live in at the time that you were growing up?
I lived in Avondale and Smithfield.
Avondale and Smithfield.
Yeah.
Okay. And what elementary school did you attend?
I went to Thomas Elementary School.
Thomas Elementary, and then from Thomas to?
Ulman High School.
To Ulman. And you graduated from Ulman High School.
Right.
All right. Tell me, what do you remember about Ulman? What was it like going to Ulman to school?
Well, it was great the first 2 years, and then it seemed like it was mediocre. After that, I wanted to go to Parker the last year. Oh, yeah. Because the old people had told me, where the best classes were. Right. They were saying that Ulman had a good school, but Parker had the best 12th grade, and I went to Parker to that 12th year to go transfer there. And I saw so many fights going up and down the aisle, going to the principal's office. Yes. I turned around and come back and went back to Ulman.
Oh, so you finished Ulman then? So
yeah.
So you felt that Ulman was better than Parker after that?
Right.
Okay. What did you do after high school?
I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia for 1 year. Then I joined the Air Force, United States Air Force in '63. I stayed in the Air Force '63. I faced a lot of prejudice errors in the Air Force. And then I came home and got my GI Bill, and I went to Lawson State 2 years. And,
did you spend 4 years in the Air Force?
3 years.
3 years in the Air Force.
In the Air Force, the first sergeant was prejudiced, and he seemed to me getting out early.
Okay, so you got an early out.
Got an early out.
Okay. Let me back up just a bit. I know that in 1957, you were one of the students that made the attempt to integrate Phillips High School. You were, in fact, with Fred Shuttlesworth and his children the morning that they went in Phillips. Can you tell me about that?
Well, what I remember is we drove on the street and to the doors, and Shuttlesworth said, "Where here the school is, that's where you want to go." So he said, "You can get out and go up there." So I opened the door, and I was the first one out of the car. I got out of the car and started walking toward the school. And
did the others get out with you?
No, Shuttlesworth got out. See, what happened was the crowd of people started running toward us, the car. They were Ku Klux or whites, whatever you call them. And Shuttlesworth said, got out the car behind me, and he told me to run, get back in the car. And the people, these whites come up hitting him with chains and bats, and he finally worked his way back to the car and got in, and we drove off. But it didn't take long, but I really wanted to go to that school, even though I knew that we had to get something in court or get a suit in for me to get in there. I knew they weren't gonna let me in there because the law had to be changed. But
so you were the only child that got out of the car
right.
going up to the school.
Right.
And then Shuttlesworth got out behind you.
Right.
And as the crowd approached him, he sent you back to the car.
Right. And they beat him.
And you were never, they didn't bother you?
No, they didn't.
Could they have if they?
Well, they broke the windows out the car on the side where I was sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
They broke all the windows. Their daughters was in the car crying. Give me a fork. I wish I had a fork so I could get out there and help him fight with.
A fork? What do you mean?
So what you eat with. They wanted something to fight with.
Oh, that's what the daughters were saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but no one else ever got out of the car, and he finally made it back to the car.
Right.
Who was driving? Do you remember who was
He
driving?
was driving.
He was driving?
Right.
So it was just he,
His wife.
his wife, Reverend Pfeiffer.
Well, Pfeiffer was not in the car, I don't think. Who I remember was his wife, his two daughters, me, and Reverend Shepherd. That's all I remember.
Okay. So did they come to your house to pick you up that morning?
I'm not sure about that.
Do you remember why you were selected, or did you volunteer? Or how did you get to be a part of this effort?
Well, my mother asked me did I want to. Phillips High School was closer than Elmore Park. And I think the law said something about you go to the closest school. And the suit claimed that if Phillips was closer, why not let blacks go to Phillips instead of passing by on the bus, going to Parker and up? Now this all, I was only 12 years old. And these things have been on my mind a long time. So, I don't know exactly whether it's hearsay I'm talking or just what I remember from being during that time.
Right. Did you attend any of the Monday night meetings?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe to me what those meetings were like?
Well, I think Reverend Sheller would get up and talk and ask for suggestions as to what things could be done to help improve the city or help get blacks integrated into the system of the city, get better, get blacks in better position in the schools and the cities.
Were there other young people, a lot of other young people like yourself, involved in those Monday night meetings? Do you remember?
Well, they were there. I mean, yes, they were.
Mm-hmm. And were any of your friends involved? Close friends that were in school with you, that lived in your community?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. What else do you remember about those meetings other than Shuttlesworth?
Well, it was a good place to go on Monday night.
Why? Why you say it's a good place to go?
Well, you had Reverend Shelworth talking and people complaining about what things needed to be done in the city for blacks to move up ahead.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember policemen being involved in those meetings or being present there?
I don't remember seeing it, I'll tell you.
Did you participate in any of the demonstrations?
No, I didn't. I just went to Phillips High School to try to get a better education. I didn't participate in the marches. I was not in the city. Mm-hmm. I had joined the service in '63,
right. And
I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and it seemed like every time something came up, like in '63 when Shellsworth was here, I was in Paris, France. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like I came home a lot, but I just wasn't involved in too much more other than just the schooling.
Were there other members of your family that was involved in the movement?
Well, I can remember my brother telling me, they went down to when Bull Connor had the hoses at him, my grandmother, and they made fun of what was said and done while they were participating.
What do you remember about the day when they took you over to the hospital, or when you went over to the hospital with Shuttlesworth? Is there anything that you remember about that occurrence?
Well, Shuttlesworth drove. I remember. I saw this picture. It has Shuttlesworth, his wife, his daughter, and me on the picture the mother talked about.
Right.
But all I know, Shuttlesworth was the only one that got hurt, and that was probably the reason why we were at the hospital.
But you do remember him driving the car,
Right?
from Phillips High School to the hospital?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that?
No, I remember him driving the car to Phillips High School.
Okay.
Me getting out and start walking toward the school, and him jumping out behind me and running, said, "Go get back in the car." And I saw the people beating him with chains and bats and sticks and things. And he finally worked his way back to get in the car. And when he got in the car, they broke the windows out, and we drove off. And that was really, I didn't remember, that picture.
Yeah. How did that experience impact you as a young person at the time?
Well, I was proud to be a part of the system, of the Christian movement. And we had a lifetime membership with the NACCP. We had membership with the Baptist. Anyway, I'm just proud to be to have been a part of it. That's the way it was.
And do you think that by your being a part of that, did that play any role in what you would do later on in life, or how you would view the struggle from that point on?
Back during that time, Ku Klux whites called the house, and they would talk to me. And so I would talk to them on the telephone.
What would they say to you?
What do you think you gonna do? Go to school with whites? Why you want to go to school with whites? And they would be watching me, even if up until later on in age, when I got to be 50 or 60 years old, so they still be watching me. And I remember it doesn't seem like it, but it seemed like those things that they said are unconsciously still in my mind.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Do you think that they are watching or have been watching you?
Well, I can seem like sometimes I see people who are out of my past who come up and pass by a wave, or some of the same people, some of the same people that were against us going to that school, they're still in this city, and they do not want to see the city progress yet.
So you think that there is some residue from that time to the present time?
Right.
You said that you talked with the Ku Klux Klansmen when they called the house. Did that frighten you?
Not at the time. It doesn't frighten me now. I just seem wary of the fact that they are around, and it seemed like they said, hey, if you get married before you get to be 50 years old, it better be to a white woman. Seemed like this is what they said to me from back 40 years ago.
Wait a minute, I don't understand now. You saying that?
They talked to me. I talked to them. They made fun, and they threatened. We had people watching our house. We had people sitting on the porch with guns and because they said they were gonna come by and bomb. And they said, if you get married before you get to be 50 years old, it better be to a white woman. This is some of the things that they did they said that I remember.
This is what the Klan said?
Yeah.
That if you got married before 50, you better get married to a white woman. Why would the Klansmen say that you, a black man, should get married to a white woman?
I don't know. I don't know. Tell you.
Mm.
That is one of the things I remember from back then.
Right, right. How did this affect your relationship? You're attempting to go to Phillips High School. How did that affect your relationship with the students at, say, at Ullman when you went there? Did they know that you had attempted to do that?
Oh, they seem to be proud of me.
How did they show that pride in your?
Well, we wouldn't talk about it too much, but sometimes we would talk. We would talk, and I was doing pretty good in school the first couple of years. I studied hard, and well, we just talked about it. We talked about it, and then after a while, wasn't nothing said about it. Was all it was to get something in the court, so that people behind us would be able to go to those schools, because we didn't think we were going to be able to get in there.
Well, when you went on to Morehouse, to college, did this ever come up when you were a student, a freshman or a sophomore at Morehouse?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Because this, you went to college in 1961.
Right.
So this is sort of,
4 years after.
yeah, the movement now is starting to develop because you had student activism. Atlanta, students in Atlanta, students in Nashville were getting involved. Were you involved in any of those efforts as a college student?
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you decided to come back to Birmingham. No, you went to Tennessee State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you came back to Birmingham. And then you decided to go to the military. Then finally come out and go back to college.
One of my friends from Los Angeles, California, who had been living in Atlanta with me, who had been going to school with me in Atlanta, he called up and said he had a job for me in Los Angeles. So I went to Los Angeles to work.
This is after Morehouse?
Right.
Between Morehouse and
Tennessee State.
Oh, I see. And how long were you out there?
3 months.
And then you came back.
I joined the service out there. I joined the Air Force out there in '63.
Oh, you joined the Air Force from out there?
Right.
Okay. All right. Then your activity in the movement basically was limited to the participation at Phillips High School. Your mother was intimately involved because she was a member of the membership committee. And
I had to remember I was only 12 during that time.
Yeah, you were a child.
Right.
You were a child, and so of course you didn't have the same opportunities to get involved. Let me just ask though, if looking back on that, if that was to be the case now, would you want to do the same thing again, going to Phillips High School, making the effort to desegregate that?
Yeah.
Witnessing the attack on Shuttlesworth?
Well, only thing I hate about it is we just went there for one time. I think we should have continued to go back and forth until they let us in and went on.
So it did not frighten, the attack did not frighten you?
No, it didn't.
Yeah. You really would have liked to have gone back. But actually I guess the case was made as a result of you going that time. Okay. Is there anything else that sort of stand out in your mind that would relate to the movement, if we could relate it to your activity, your participation? Is there anything else that we have not covered that you would like to deal with?
Well, like I had some papers and things I've been saying because after I got in the Air Force, I faced prejudice in the high schools here in the city. I faced prejudice in the Air Force in Nashville, Tennessee, and it just seemed to go on and on. It seems like we're moving ahead, but we just facing more prejudice. When you get around them and stay around them, if you have done something like try to integrate, they think you want to be quiet, I guess, or whatever, and it's just more prejudice. It's just as much prejudice now as it was then, I guess.
So it's just as much now as it is then.
Right.
But you don't have to sit in the back of the bus now.
Well, all right.
You don't, you can go to Newberry's. Well, Newberry's is about gone, isn't it?
Well,
you can sit any place you want. So how do you mean that there's just as much prejudice now as then?
Well, what I was referring to was the prejudice I faced in the Air Force. That's what I was referring to. And that was in the 60s, too.
Yeah.
Well.
So those prejudice, you have prejudice here in the South, and then you have prejudice in the military as well. How did that impact upon your life as a whole?
Well, I have some plans to start and do something for myself. When I got to be 50 years old, and I got to be 50, and things have not worked out the way I wanted them to. And I think it was all because of these prejudice errors that have been committed against me, or black people, whatever you say, it's still holding them back. And I think I have something to accomplish in life yet. There's still some things I want to do, and this prejudice seemed like it held me back. I didn't finish college. I didn't stay in the Air Force. But I wanted to. I don't think.
Yeah. Do you think that the things that that's held you back, are they still out there, or will we be able to accomplish any of these things and get around this whole idea of being held back by prejudices and racism?
I think so.
I think we'll be able to do it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time and come and sit and talk with us, because you're the first person I talked with who was actually there the day that Fred Shuttlesworth was beaten. Let me ask you one last question. How do you look at Fred Shuttlesworth as a man and the ways in which he handled that situation at Phillips High School?
I think he was a great man. And he was not afraid. He didn't mind fighting with those people, and he didn't talk about it. He just got back in the car. We raced off and we went to the hospital. And he said, "Well, this is what we came here for. We knew we were not going to get a chance to go to the school today. Only thing I say is I think we should have went back the next day and the next day until we finally got in there instead of waiting for him to take it through the coats."
A man of courage is what you would call Shuttlesworth.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Wilson, I appreciate your taking the time out and sitting with us, and I'm sure that those things that you want to accomplish in life, that you will be successful at them.
Okay. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Sweet in the morning, oh Lord, it's sweet in the morning, sweet in